Are you living your passion? What is your passion? Welcome to the Luxe Life Discovered podcast, where we talk with people who are living a lifestyle that reflects their passion, because we believe everyone should enjoy living their best life, their Luxe Life.
Hello, I'm Rick Steiner, back with another episode of Luxe Life Discovered. I have my co-host Shannon Richmond with me today.
Hi, Rick.
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
And our guest today is Maggie Matthews, who owns Margaret Ellen Bridal in Inlet Beach. And so, Maggie, we're glad to have you with us today.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
Well, since working down in the Gulf Coast area, the PCB area, I ran across your Instagram, Margaret Ellen Bridal, and very impressed from day one with everything.
Thank you.
Tell me a little about how you came to the area. So you said you're not from the area originally, right?
I'm not from Florida. No, I'm originally from the Mississippi Delta. So born and raised there, got married there, had my first child there, and then end of 2017, early 2018, we made the move to Florida.
Okay, what part of the Delta?
Greenville, so right on the Mississippi River.
Well, I'm from a little town called Marvel near Helena, Arkansas.
Okay,
so
yes.
we're not too far from each other originally.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. So then how did you get the idea to start your bridal salon?
So what brought us to Florida first was my parents have had a beach house down here in the Seacrest Beach area. They actually built it in 2013, which was the year that I got married. So they did a lot of things that year. But their main plan was to retire and move down here. And I loved the area and knew I wanted a little bit more for my life, and both like just personal life and business-wise. And had the bug, got the idea, and there was no better place to do it. I'm the only bridal shop in Walton County, so really proud of that.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
So really proud of that, and that's just kind of why we chose the area.
Right. Well, great. I know. See, I learned something already. I didn't realize you were the only one. That's pretty impressive. One of the first things that I found out about you when I first started following you several months ago, you had a flood at your shop. And tell us about the bride that came in that day.
Yes. So early that morning, on Saturdays, we actually open super early, like at 9 a.m., and start our first appointment at 9 a.m. And I had dropped my kids off at my parents' about a mile from the shop, and a big storm came through. I headed toward the shop, and it was like tornado winds. And turns out Panama City Beach ended up having a water spout or some sort of tornado, and that's what I was going through with everything flying around me. So first off, I had to call her when I made my way back to my parents' house to take shelter, and tell her hey, I'm taking shelter. We may be a little bit late. Hate to do this, but actually she had to pull over. She was on the 331 bridge and going through it too. So when we finally got to the shop, we actually all ended up at the same time of getting there. So I didn't get there early enough to see what had happened in the shop, but it ended up one of my doors from the outside had come open, and there was water everywhere in the shop where the dresses were. And what did she do and her group do? They just took mops and paper towels and started cleaning up, and it was the most selfless thing.
That's so nice.
I was blown away. So started the appointment about that and ended it with finding her dress. So
Well,
yes,
that's good.
shout out to Patrice. She is wonderful.
Yeah, I just thought that was neat. It spoke volumes about her as well as her, bridesmaids that were there with her. So but it also spoke volumes too, because there was a lot of things about you that made that special. Because if you hadn't been the type person you are, some people may not have been willing to do that. So your reputation precedes you in a lot of ways. So,
Thank you so much.
So now, when you have your bridal salon, I guess I deal with weddings with my wedding division, and so I see a lot of brides, and you see so many different styles of gowns, and that's one of the hardest things for a bride to really nail down sometimes, because that kind of determines the whole wedding, the whole scheme and what they're wanting to do and how it ties in with their personality. What are some of the hardest things that you see brides trying to see when brides are making that final decision?
making the final decision, the true hard thing I see is when a bride is down to 2 dresses and she loves both dresses. So that's where I really have to come in and make her envision her wedding. So where she's getting married and just the vibe she's going for and which one of those dresses. Typically, honestly, the 2 dresses, a lot of girls are always between at the end. They're totally different. So we have to really start thinking of the wedding and what she sees herself in, but what she feels best in. And sometimes I get them to close their eyes and think about their fiance down at the end of the aisle and try to truly imagine themselves about to walk down the aisle and which one they see themselves in. I'd say that's the toughest part typically. But we try to do a lot of that legwork up front too before a bride ever comes in so that we can truly help them. And I do think that's what makes us a little bit different is that we truly have a personalized experience. But when they make their appointment, I always call. Or one of my girls always calls the bride so that we can truly hear, what their wedding vision is, where they're getting married, if they've tried on or not, get them to send us pictures, and then we start the process. So it's truly, truly personalized. And then when they come in, we already have dresses pulled for them. So it just makes it easier for them. They can come in and breathe a little bit. A lot of girls come in super nervous, and so we try to take that away from them.
This episode of Luxe Life Discovered is brought to you in part by Steiner Event Group. Steiner Event Group is a national event planner that produces results for their clients. They offer event and wedding planning on any scale, hosting bridal shows, scouting talented models, and producing riveting concept photo shoots to help their clients expand their brands, products, and services. Whether you're a business professional aiming to take your brand to the next level, planning a corporate or private event, a bride seeking to have the wedding of your dreams, or a model ready to be discovered, Steiner Event Group is ready for you.
And they could always buy both dresses for that matter. One for the wedding, one for the reception.
True.
And you are by appointment only.
We are by appointment only, yes.
That very personalized attention to the bride, which is very essential.
Yes.
So,
A lot of people, sometimes, if they call the day of, and they kind of sometimes get upset that and I don't know that, but they kind of sound upset that they can't come in. But we are by appointment only so that we can make it specialized for them.
Right. And when they're there, they understand that because they appreciate that. And, a lot of brides are insecure trying on dresses in front of other people, even if it's total strangers. But, trying it on and other people in the store, that just makes some uncomfortable.
Right,
so,
right. And that's another way we're different that I should mention is that we only see one bride at a time. So that was super important to me. When I went dress shopping for myself almost 10 years ago, there were tons of people in the store that I went to, and it was a huge store, and it's a very well-known store.
I bet I know what it is.
But all eyes were on me of people that I didn't even know. Yeah. And so that doesn't make it special when someone else is seeing you in your wedding dress and making comments.
Right.
Or when a size 2 girl is standing to a size 20 girl.
Right.
You never want someone to feel not as good. You want them to feel the best in their skin. And so that's what we really focus on too, is we only see one bride at a time. So all doors are closed during that bride's appointment. So it's truly specialized for them. It's a private experience. And we've gotten lots of feedback of girls loving that. So,
right. Well, that's good. I think so. Okay. You're the only bridal salon in Walton County. Where do your brides come from? I mean, I know at the Walton County, of course, but
yes.
we're all, because they come from a large area.
They do. So tons come from Panama City. Very proud of that. We see lots of Panama City brides. We see lots of Destin, Fort Walton Beach brides, but also Pensacola, and then also brides from other states. So we are about at 34 states, I believe, that we've served. Yes, and then a Canadian bride, and the furthest state would probably be Hawaii, I think. So
is that right? Were they getting married here?
She was, yes.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So there's something that I know there are a lot of destination weddings here, but I just never thought about getting so much here, but they really do. So yeah.
Yeah, they do, and sometimes all of these out-of-state brides aren't even getting married here. They're just on vacation here, and it's where maybe I've seen it a lot where one person lives out west and the other person lives in the family, like lives in the New England area, and grandma may live somewhere totally different, and this is like their 1 or 2 times a year to see each other, and so they want to do it while everyone is here. I actually had a call yesterday from a Massachusetts bride, and that's what she was doing, is that everyone was going to be in one spot for Christmas down here, and she wanted to do it while everyone was here with her. So that's really cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you're glad to help them out.
Yes, I'm glad to help them out, find their dress, and then we ship it to them. So they don't have to make another trip down here. So if they're not getting married here, then it comes straight to their door.
Well, that's great. So when the lines that you carry, I know you've had 2 recent, or was it 2 recent announcements about so tell us about those new lines.
Okay.
And then also how you determine, because I mean, how do you, that'd be hard to nail down.
Yeah, it is. So our 2 new lines, I'll start with that, are Vera Wang Bride, which we're super, super excited about. When I opened the store, or before I even opened, that was a dream line to carry. So we are really excited to carry that. They have partnered with Pronovius, and so we are excited for that. And then our other new line is Pronovius, which just has beautiful beading and lace work, and we're excited for that. My dress was a division of Pronovius, so I'm really excited to have them finally in the shop.
And that speaks a lot too because of your salon, because not everybody can get those lines. So that's an honor in itself.
Thank you. Yes. And then you asked, the other question was, how do we choose the lines? That's a really difficult question. So when I opened 4 years ago, truly how I found the lines I wanted to carry was I looked up tons and tons online and went through their collections and just kind of marked what I thought would do well, what I loved, and then kind of went from there. And then, of course, reached out to the designers to get approval to carry the lines. There's one in particular, it's Martina Liana, and I knew I wanted to carry that line because every single one of my best friends had a Martina Liana dress. So I was the most nervous to contact them, so I waited to the last minute to contact them, but they've been amazing to work with, and girls here are loving the Martina dresses.
And that is a tough part when you're in the business that you're in and wanting to reach out to certain designers. I can only imagine nerve-wracking might be a good word. But
intimidating, yes.
Intimidating. But then once that door opens, you're like, why didn't I do it sooner?
Yeah, definitely. And so when actually Vera Wang Bride had reached out to me back in the summer, and so when they reached out, that was truly like a pinch me moment.
Yeah.
And
well, that always helps when they reach out.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, do I want to carry you? Yeah. Yeah. And then so when we also deciding, we actually go to Bridal Market or to New York Bridal Fashion Week and actually see the dresses in person, and which is really important. We get to go and touch them, feel them, meet with the reps, sometimes the designers, and then truly decide if we want to carry the line and which dresses we pick up. Because just because a new collection comes out, we don't pick up the entire collection. Right. We just have a certain number that we have to purchase for the store. So that gives us the opportunity to see the entire collection and then choose which dresses we're going to bring back to the store. So we do hand select every dress that comes in the store. And
to go to Bridal Fashion Week in New York, that's a tough job, you know?
Oh, I know. Yeah. A lot of people do say, like, it must be so fun. It is so fun. I'm a bit of a person that kind of stresses out, so most of it's fun. The nights are fun, going to Broadway and going out to eat, but I do stress a lot of like which dresses.
Well, that's a big decision. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I finally just hired a few girls that work with me part time, and it's good to have another set of eyes of like telling me, yes, we need that. No, we do not need that. Like it's not gonna sell. You know, it puts me back down because, of course, I have hard eyes for everything. So,
well, that's good. Now, for most of the time, though, you've done it by yourself, right?
For 3 years, I did it all by myself, with my mom a little bit. But my mom is a great grandmother and keeps my children for me. Yeah. So, but she has helped quite a bit. But yes, I've been primarily the one that does it all, the social media, the emails, working with the designers, and then running the appointments. So
Wow. Yeah.
I'm glad to have help.
Oh, I'm sure you are. Yes. So you are in Inlet Beach.
I am.
So tell us where you're located.
I am located in 30 Avenue. It is a little bit hard to find us. We're on the second floor in 30 Avenue. So we're in a private suite above the 30A Olive Oil Company and across the hallway from 30A Smiles.
Okay. But will change in
a few months. Yeah. Probably, I would say sometime hopefully late summer, early fall, we will be moving to our permanent home. We are building a new bridal shop on Serenoa Road. So very excited for that. We are going to be able to serve more brides while keeping it still very private. But we are excited.
Well, that's great. So how many brides would you say you've been open 3 or 4 years?
Yes.
Yeah. So how many brides have you served? What would you
That's a hard question. I probably should have done some research.
Well, yeah. No,
hundreds.
Yes,
hundreds.
Yeah. Well, that's really just amazing to me. And of course, being a guy, I don't understand all the bridal part, like a girl does. But when you have a girl that has dreamed of the perfect gown her entire life, she comes in and it's a challenge finding it. Of course, you do your research before, but I'm sure you still have those that come in that are, just it's not what they want. How do you deal with a bride like that?
Absolutely, that's a great question. I am, and I'll start it by this and go into that. I'm a little bit different because I am truly about the relationships with my brides, and it is the most important article of clothing they're ever going to wear. If I don't have it, I'm not going to turn my shoulder on them or turn my back on them. I will help them find another shop that may have what they're going to look for. And I do think that is a little bit different with us, that we're truly in it for the bride and not for just selling a wedding dress.
With By the Sea Resorts, you have so many options, you never have to settle. By the Sea Resorts offers 5 restaurants and 11 hotels where you can enjoy the sights and the sounds of the Gulf, spread out in spacious guest rooms. Or book your next event or meeting in one of our many customizable spaces. For dining, we're serving up sunshine and good times at all 3 of our Barefoot restaurant locations. Or experience waterfront dining at the Shrimp Boat Restaurant. And enjoy live entertainment every weekend at House of Bourbon. By the Sea Resorts. We're saving you a front row seat.
Right. And that's key because that separates a lot of the top professionals from everyone, from the rest of the group, because it's like with my weddings, my events, it's about bringing the personality of the bride out and what she wants to have for her, not just a wedding, but the reception. Because there's nothing, a bride can say, well, you just do what, you do great, just do it.
Yeah.
Well, no, this is not my wedding or reception. I want it to reflect them. And that's huge. And the more they enjoy it, the more comfortable they are, it's just a win for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. And some of those girls I still, keep up with that didn't even buy their dress from me. So it truly is just
and they
making sure you're in it for the
right. And they refer
bride.
Friends, and it all comes back to you in the long run. So,
correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Well, good. So where do you see Margaret Ellen Bridal in 5 years?
5 years. We'll definitely expand it into the new building, serving more brides, hopefully having more employees, with even more brands within our walls. That's kind of where I see it in 5 years. And still having a whole lot to do with it. I hope to be out of the shop a little bit more with my kids,
right.
But hopefully having a team that can serve just as well as I have done, that I feel like I've done.
Right. And that's the key too, especially when you own the business and you're the owner and you have that level of standard that you want to keep. And so it's hard to give it up a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But, you don't want to take the time away from the family as well. So
correct.
I'm
trying to learn to do it all right now.
I know, yeah. I think that's what every person that is self-employed has their own business. People think, you can just take off and do what you want to do. Well, sure you can, but nobody's going to pay my bills when I do that either. And you want to make sure that everybody's happy in the same time. So
correct.
Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, I just left about 2 weeks ago to go see my best friend for her 30th birthday, and I think that was my first real time of actually taking off and leaving it to someone and we actually like had appointments. And it was Friday night, and I almost decided to fly back home from Nashville. And I'm so glad I did. It really, truly taught me that I can let go a little bit. And I think the big word would be trust, because my consultant, Madison, did fantastic and made the brides feel loved, beautiful, and found every single bride that came in that day their dress. So I think that did teach me that you just have to have a little bit of trust, and that people can do it.
It's kind of like with children, when you raise them and then they go, as they get older, and you'll find this out, they do what you've taught them to do and what you want them to do, but you're just not ready for them to do it. It's like that same with the trust with Madison. It's like, okay, she did a great job, but I don't want to feel like I'm not needed.
Definitely.
So it's kind of like we get what we want sometime, and it's like, is that what we want? That type thing. But well, good deal, Shannon. What are your thoughts on the bridal?
Oh my gosh, I'm just learning so many things. So if somebody didn't have a dress, you said you helped them to find another boutique that might. Mm-hmm. So you don't go and get the dress and bring it to your shop. So you're not about just that transaction. You're about the relationship with the bride.
Correct. And that's truly how I just am as a person. Now, if there was a dress, you brought up a good point, but if there was a dress that a bride saw, and if it's carried by one of our designers, we can always and we don't have it in the shop, we can always request to have that. It's called a loaner for the bride to try on. So if I did not exactly turn somebody away, but was helping them find another place to go, to find exactly what they were wanting. But if I did think of a dress like by one of my designers that I think that the bride may love, we could definitely do that too.
I love that, because a bride, they're vulnerable. They just want to look beautiful and feel beautiful. And for you not to just want to make that transaction, but to make their day the most special, that's amazing.
Yes.
And plus, even if you refer them to someone else, they may not get that same level of care that you're going to give them, so that's always something to think about as well.
Yeah. Sure. And I do hear that of brides that go elsewhere or either have gone elsewhere before us, but, come back and if just kind of say, thank you and call me to tell me like there's not an experience. I've been to a lot of shops now since then, and there's not an experience like yours. So that means the world to me alone.
Right. And so what do you think when you get like the bouquet of flowers or the little thank you from your brides? Mm-hmm. How does that make you feel?
Oh, top of the world, honestly. Yeah.
Oh, I can
definitely
imagine. So I follow her on Instagram and love to see your posts and stuff. And
thank you.
She has a lot of brides that actually do that.
Yes.
And it's so appreciative because you're giving them the best day of their life, the gown for the best day of their life. And your experience with them, it's just neat to see how people appreciate that and how they respond.
Because, yes, it's always appreciated.
Yeah. So tell us about you do trunk shows. If people aren't familiar with the trunk show, what is involved with that? And
great question. So when a trunk show is happening, I think some people think of it as like a sample sale where they can come in, pick their dress, and go that day. It's not exactly like that. So a trunk show is one of two things. It's when the designer sends in their newest collection, typically, to the store. So like I said earlier, where we don't buy every single dress from a collection, we may pick up 8 dresses from the collection. They send, and there might be 20 dresses in the collection, they send the entire collection. So it only happens for like one weekend only, so brides have to be, ready to jump on in. And it's good for brides if they know that they want to be a bride of that specific designer. So if they're loving, we'll say Vera Wang, for instance, then, and we have a trunk show for that, then they need to come in on that weekend because they're going to have the best selection. A lot of trunk shows too, the designers will do incentives. So maybe like you could do a free custom change to the dress, or sometimes it's 10% off. So it's a special weekend.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, good. So do they go over very well here?
They have, yes. Okay. Especially our Martina Liana and Essence of Australia trunk shows. They always sell out, which
Oh, wow.
Stay tuned for an announcement for that once coming up. But yeah, they always typically get booked super fast, and then girls always end up finding those dresses.
Okay, the trunk shows, they're booked by appointment also.
They are,
Okay.
because we still see only one bride at a time. Sometimes
Okay.
they're a little bit shorter than our normal appointment. Our normal appointments last 2 hours, and sometimes trunk show appointments last only an hour and a half. But yes, they are by appointment only.
Okay, all right. That's something I didn't know, so I'm glad we covered that.
Yes.
Because people think you're having a trunk show for one weekend and you just go in. But
Yeah,
that's
correct.
Appointment only.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like the appointment only. That's such a nice concept, that personal touch.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's about that bridal experience. So,
Yes,
yeah.
definitely. That's what we are about.
So when you were looking for a dress when you got married,
Mm-hmm.
did you have any like moments that you're like when you're looking for a dress, did you have any those moments that you're like, oh, that was horrible? I mean, did that ever come into play with your decision to have your own shop?
At that moment, no. So the decision with my own shop was as a dream as a kid.
Okay.
From watching The Parent Trap, when they go into the mom's bridal shop to do a photo shoot, and she got called in. And that's real life when you get called in. But that's where the dream came about. I wanted to design wedding dresses, but I was a young child, like elementary age. I would draw out and sketch dresses. Never good, but I would sketch dresses. And then as I grew older, my mom, both of my parents were in education. So my dad was my high school principal, and my mom was my high school counselor. And she was really big on students at our high school, once they were seniors, that they really kind of needed to know what they were going to do. And she's just a realist. So going into fashion design, I don't believe was something that she really thought, I guess, was attainable. And I think she probably cringes when she hears this, but I do appreciate that about her, is that she's a realist and truly just wanted the best for me. But she wanted me to choose a career in which I would get out of college and I would find a job quickly. And obviously be happy in. And I was set on going to the school I went to. I went to Mississippi State, and what she did pretty much was she gave me the list of majors, and she said, well, if you're going there, you need to pick a major because you need to know what you're going to do. I did have my freshman year of college already completed by the end of my senior year, so I was truly going in, not just taking the basic coursework. Right. Yeah, I was going in. So I chose elementary ed. I thought it would be a wonderful career, that I was off in the summers and had all the free time and got off at 3 o'clock, and it just seemed fun. And I do love children. And
but
I
that's
did
not
it.
Your passion.
It was not my passion. I loved my students more than anything, but it just truly wasn't my passion.
So you did teach for a while.
I did.
Okay.
Yes,
Right.
I taught for 6 years. So
Oh, wow.
yes.
Wow.
This episode of Luxe Life Discovered is brought to you in part by Orville's Men's Store. Thank you, Orville's Men's Store, for supplying the men's clothing for today's podcast. For the absolute best in casual and dress wear for men, visit orvillesms.com. That's ORVILLESMS.com.
Well, my wife was a kindergarten teacher.
Okay.
She's an education coordinator for the local Head Start program there, and they supervise Head Start in 11 counties. But the first year she taught, after we got married, I went to her class one day, and I was there for like 10 or 15 minutes. And little did I know that would be the best class that she would ever have. And I was just like, I don't know how people do this.
how do
I
you do
respect
this?
them, but it's just like, oh, wow, that was not my gift, but she
Yeah.
absolutely loved it and was great with it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so and back to Mississippi State, I went there for a couple of years.
Nice.
So
Hail State.
That's right. So got that little connection, yeah.
Yeah,
And-
so I mean, my dress shopping experience was great. Like I said, I went to a known place. However, it didn't come to me to do what I have two great best friends that were truly trying to find me anything to do when I was very unhappy in education. But it wasn't until one of them was getting married, and I truly loved the experience so much. And I called my mom the same night of her appointment and said, I want to do this and open a shop on 30A. My mom thought I was crazy, of course. And it took her, I think she had to talk to some people. down here that she had already become friends with.
Right.
And then she came down for Christmas that year, and truly, like, without telling me, started doing some research. And then she came
great.
about mid-January. She said, I'll partner with you and I'll help you open this. And there was no turning back after that.
Right.
After getting my husband on board and then my parents on board, it was truly...
So your husband's from this Greenville area also?
He is from a small town called Grace, Mississippi. There is nothing there.
Okay.
Nothing at all. It's about 10 minutes from a town called Rolling Fork, and there's not even a red light.
It is. Yes, that's crazy, yeah.
Yeah, and he's a big hunter and fisherman, and getting him to agree to move down here, I never thought would happen. So I'm truly so thankful for him, and now he loves it. So I don't think he would go back, honestly.
That's great, yeah.
So,
well, I tell you what, being from the Delta, I mean, it's a whole different ball game down there. It really is. It's great people, great area, but there's a whole different just vibe here, and it's great down here. And when you're on the beach all the time, even though my wife never understands when I'm here, well, I'm not on the beach all the time. Well, I'm working. I don't have time to go to the beach. So I went out the other morning, walked on the beach for like 5 minutes, took a video and sent it to her.
Oh, nice.
And she's like, did you just walk out and do this video and then get back in the car? I'm like, yeah, I did. She knew me too well. But, it's so gorgeous down here. So
it is. And there's just so many things for kids to do, which I appreciate.
Right.
I mean, parks and things that I would have never thought, but it's just a whole different world.
Exactly. So back to the designing part. Is that ever a possibility?
I get this question all the time. I don't think so.
But it's not ruled out.
I don't know. I don't know that I have the creativity now, honestly, to do so after seeing so many designs.
Oh, that would be tough, yeah. Because then how do you make it unique and your own?
I wish I could go back in time and told myself that this was going to be my plan and this is what was going to work out for me, and truly like major in design and business. Oh my goodness, business definitely, because I'm just still learning. But I wish I could go back and do those things. Yeah,
but it's something nice about doing the unexpected and having that dream just come to reality.
That's true.
So
that's true.
It's kind of catch-22 on that part. But there's always some things I think we always think, man, if I only had paid attention to this or followed through with that. But
right, I probably wouldn't be here
maybe
today.
Not, So
that's true.
That's true. It may have taken you a whole different direction, and you wouldn't have the only bridal salon in Walton County. So I think that's pretty impressive. Congratulations on that.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, so what, I asked you about your 5-year plan. What about 3-year plan? Let's get more specific. Like, what could you do if you could do anything with your salon now? What say when you get into your new building, what would be your number one wish?
Probably bringing on 1 or 2 designers that are pretty big names that I've had my eyes on. So definitely that. And just becoming like the known place to come shop for your wedding dress. Right. Those would probably be the biggest things.
I think you may have already accomplished one of them.
Bigger than that.
Bigger than that?
Yeah, you can always dream bigger. But truly becoming, I don't know.
No, I understand. That's great. Yeah, that was a kind of a tough question there after we've talked about everything else. But
I could tell you my long-term plans.
What would that be? Would you want to share those?
Sure. I think long-term plan, way in the future, would be that my daughter comes on board with me. Yeah. So I've pray for that. And my son's like, she's not going to do that. He's about to be 7, and he's like, no, she's not going to do that. She's not. She's going to be a teacher. I'm like, no, she's not. She's going to come work with me. So I truly hope that.
Yeah, well, that would be nice. And then to pass, because your mother helped you start the business, and then your daughter takes over. That would be awesome.
Yeah, and it's pretty. iconic in the store. Would love for you to see it one day, but we have my wedding dress behind glass on the wall and my mom's wedding dress behind the glass on the wall. So it's just a good starting point to just look at that and know, that's kind of what started all
But
of
we're
this.
not ready for the little daughter.
No. Please no. Not till she's 30, my husband says.
Yeah, and then at 30, he'll still think she's not ready, Because it's like I have one daughter and 2 sons, and, when my daughter's, husband now came to our house to ask if, he could marry Morgan, I'm like, why do we need a guy? It's like, but I'm super guy. I mean, he's everything you'd want your daughter to have in a man, but it's just like, I want her to be a baby girl.
Yeah,
but
I get it.
Yeah. So, good. Well, thank you so much for coming in today and sharing about your business and your just passion and your vision, because you represent what my broadcast is about, the Luxe Life Discovered, because you're living your passion, your best life, and you're enjoying it. And I
definitely am.
Yeah. Well, great.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today on Luxe Life Discovered. We've been visiting with Maggie Matthews with Margaret Ellen Bridal in Inlet Beach, and we're so grateful that she came in today. Stay tuned for our next podcast as we talk with Mayor Mark Sheldon of Panama City Beach. See you soon. Thanks.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and want to support our show, leave us a review. That's the #1 way to help this show reach others just like you. Join us next time for another Luxe Life Discovered.